Oh no, boys and girls. Weather report for August 29th, August 30th. I got the description wrong. Forgot to increment my day. Sorry. August 30th, 2020. This is more Maddox Dum Dum. Anyway, let's see. So last night or yesterday, Smoky Saint, in fact, in the last few days, Smoky Saint has been creating all kinds of ripples in the Christian believer community, going after this one guy and P. Mars. And it's really interesting to watch the Christians snapping at each other's heels. Because their belief is not quite as fundamental as Smokey likes or something. But so that's interesting. And Smokey had like a live call-in show yesterday. That was about all that happened until last night when RJ inexplicably decided to debate NephilimFree on Modern Day Debate. Now, RJ, what the hell were you thinking? I suppose it's going to get your name out there, and that's what we got to do. So then we went to two after shows. One of them was Dapper Dino with Erica and a few others. And let's see. What else we got? Let's see. And then Logical, Plausible, and Probable did a debate. So, or did an after show. And that's what we're going to take a look at right here. But I think probably the best thing is...
It's not really an algorithm.
Well, no.
And then they do the same thing.
It's not really an algorithm.
Well, no.
And then they do the same thing with information. The DNA is information.
Okay. Let's NephilimFree with his voices. I want to say something about NephilimFree. I don't think I've ever heard him get really down and dirty mean to other people. I kind of like Neff. I still do. I don't know why, but he gets more shit than anybody else because of his style and because of some of the ideas he's come up with. But I think there's a pretty good guy in there, you know. And I don't know. Picking on Neff, he's low hanging fruit intellectually, but he's a good guy. And unlike some of these others who have come across as just malicious and sexist and just genuinely bad people, like Beta Boy Wolf. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not saying send Neff flowers or anything, but you know, give him a nod once in a while. He tends to run on, but I have not heard him. I suppose he's gotten pissed off occasionally, but for the most part, he just hangs in there, and he's a fairly nice dude. So give him a little credit. Stanley is the other one who's a pretty nice dude most of the time, almost all the time. It's just who Stanley and Neff hang out with is kind of what I have a problem with. But anyway, so
It's not.
Mark Reed came in and endured about an hour and 30 minutes of Logical, Plausible, and Probable. Mark, I would love to talk to you and we come to a place where we can actually discuss some views. But the whole thing was, is DNA a code again? And it just went on and on. But there were a few points here. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. You got a beach ball. StreamYard makes YouTube beach ball. Not very nice. Stop
the
it.
way I approached it tonight, I just thought I would take it laid back and just ask questions so that the audience can see that he can't actually give a scientific explanation why abiogenesis should be believed. I think I succeeded at that because he never once gave any scientific explanation for anything.
Well, no, that's very true. It was interesting throughout the debate. He fell back on his standard defense mechanism, which was, have you read the technical literature? You know, and we hear that.
That's class.
Yeah, and Maddox, has this big folder of technical literature, which of course he hasn't read, or at least he hasn't understood. And we know where that is. And we keep inviting John to go over at least one of those papers and explain how the hell you get to where you go from where those papers start out. And that was kind of the gist of the debate. But the thing I want to focus on is this.
And be talking over people like you did in the last time I had you on the stream, then we can just boot you out now.
I didn't talk over anybody.
In the last stream, yes, you did. Quite a few times.
No, people talked like into me, and I just didn't stop talking. But that's not talking over.
Okay.
So you muted him.
And again, you will be recognized when it's your turn to speak. And you can go on timeout. I'll let you back in a few minutes. George,
put him on timeout. And then we got George Bond stops in. But anyway, this timing out and muting people, I mean, why in the fuck are you atheists continuing to go on John's little fucking playgrounds and put up with this shit? I mean, why are you doing it? Go to a channel where you can speak your mind, where you can have a real conversation. I mean, I guess it's, it's material for us to go over. It's material, I guess, to get John's words out there, which is always fairly interesting. And there's a lot in this 6.5 hour mega hangout where you hear a lot of John stupid, but there's only so much John stupid we can handle. I think it's like, God, why, Mark? Why did you put up with it? There, let's see, we went to, it devolved somewhere around DNA as a code.
Yeah, man. Can I have just a second?
What was it you were wanting to bring up, man?
Mark, can I ask you a question? Is DNA a code?
The DNA itself isn't a code. We make a code out of the DNA, and I was explaining to you this in the show via comments that we encode stuff, right? It's what we do. Like, for instance, you can say a computer code. Like there's the instructions that we give, like the code that we give, isn't really how the machine operates, right? It's made up of a CPU.
I got to check something here. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to be sure that we had this going. Okay, so basically this whole thing about is DNA a code, is DNA not a code? When somebody who studies evolution or understands evolution pushes back on it being a code, they're doing it for one reason, and that is that the interlocutor is not understanding what the implications of it being a code are. Now, I will fall in and say DNA is a code because it fits that semiotic diagram, that little triangle. And we can call anything a code. I mean, I can look at the path of a river where the river hits the bank and turns right and turns left and goes, down the hill and whatever. I can look at that as a code. I can interpret it as a code, and I can actually write it out as a code. I mean, I could go at some resolution and study the path of a river and say, we have a code here. Okay, it's turning left, turning right, going down. Doesn't go up too often, but it goes to, those three things. And, I want to ask you, last night it kind of came up, my boomer brain I can't get my boomer brain around the whole earbuds, AirPods. So is earbuds, earbuds, AirPods? Is that a code? Yeah, kind of. That's a code. We can make a code out of it. So anyway, anything can be construed as a code. It's what we do because we are sentient beings. We're trying to understand the fucking universe. And today I'm hoping to do a hangout with two of my partners, Walker and Immutable Destiny, and maybe Molecular Alchemy. and discuss this whole business of information and what information is in the universe. And I also have a short presentation I put together in PowerPoint that goes over information. And this shit has got to stop. I mean, these guys, is it a code? Isn't it a code? Whatever. I don't know. It goes on and on. But let's see. I'm trying to get my scroll on here. We had, oh God, this. Sometimes Apple does not pull it off. You know.
Okay,
Can I address some of that?
Hang on, everybody. We're gonna let.
Yeah,
Steve be
man.
patient.
Can I have
what,
just a
what was
second?
it you were wanting to bring up, man?
But they'll say it.
It's not really an algorithm.
Well, it's not.
And then they do the same thing with information. The DNA is information. It's not really information. We just using that term
Yeah, that's
colloquially.
right.
Yeah, this is just science denial.
Mark, before you go,
no.
I'm gonna want you to finish. But you're all basically saying it's the only sense that it's not a code is that there is no known coder. I mean, if there was a known coder, let's say it was natural selection, you'd have to say it was a code.
That's
I mean,
right.
you'd have
And
to.
if you had knowledge that it was fairies, you'd have to say
And-
that it's
and you-
fairies. That's
No.
The whole point is here, you do not need a coder for it to be a fucking code. For us to determine that something is a code or use the definition that we have for what a code is on some physical system or any system, some system that was found at the bottom of the ocean, or some system that a coder coded, or some purely physical thing that a coder did not code, you can still call it a code. It just depends on how you want to define it. For God's sake, category errors, people. Fucking stop bringing the subjective human intelligence brain into a discussion where the human intelligent brain is trying to figure something the fuck out. Okay? And we're going to have that talk today with Immutable Destiny, particularly, who my question is, why do we have to keep bringing our own subjectivity, our own intelligence into a conversation about the physical universe? That is a category error. You can't keep doubling back and looking at the instrument. It's kind of like you're looking at some trees and somebody wants to talk about, oh, but your eyeball is, how do you see your eyeball? And it's like, it's just ridiculous. You don't start talking about your fucking eyeballs when you're talking about trees. Okay? If you're looking at trees, look at trees. You're not going to talk about the instrument that you look at trees with. And this keeps happening over and over again. And this is not only a category error, but a kind of a category whirling down the fucking drain of the toilet and flushing sort of error. And it just goes on and on and on. And I see it so simply because I take something I call a God's eye view of these things. And anyway, hopefully today we'll iron a little bit of that out. But then let's see, where are we here? 105, I think.
That's the point. I'd have to find evidence of where it comes
Okay,
from.
so again, let's actually be rational. Would you go talk to any one of your peers and be like, hey guys, I have no idea whether or not an intelligent agent was required to create this freaking hard drive or this entire system? Would you ever go talk to?
Okay, but DNA is not a fucking hard drive, John. DNA is not a factory that humans created. DNA is not a car standing for truth. Biology is not an automobile, Dr. Neanderthal Jensen. Get it? You can't keep using human analogies of tool building because we are the ones looking at DNA and saying, oh, this looks like something we did when we built a car or when we built a table in the garage. Oh, therefore, somebody must have built it. It's like John's argument is that shallow. And it's really hard to do comeback videos on John because he has no content. It's like I read paper after paper after paper, and it's a code. Therefore, God. I mean, that's it. It's just like God, and this just runs. This is pervasive in the creationist community. I don't know what we have here. Shadow Dancer came back at one. She actually came back online, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of Shadow Dancer out here that we can look at. Oh, no, I guess she wasn't on very long. She didn't stick around very long. They kind of keep her in the back drawer. Let's see.
What's up, Jesse? How you doing?
Yeah, she's back. Okay. And then I'm trying to find the part where, here we go.
Okay. Now, let's look at another component of this just to put your level of ignorance into perspective. So that was, by the way, last year. Like I think the Royal Society meeting was like the very end of May, first couple days of June, something like that. Then this is context of.
So DNA it's an identical process to.
Okay, everyone, I need some help with this. John keeps showing this video, and I kind of want to watch the whole video, but I think this is some creationist explaining his, and I think I've seen this guy before. You can always tell a creationist sort of by the timbre of their voice, oddly enough. I could be wrong about this, but I want to know where the fuck this video comes from. I've asked John 100 times. I'm going to have to call him a fucking liar again. He never produces his sources for anything. He does not like to do that. So anyway, hopefully somebody can link me to this video. I'd like to know where this garbage came from.
It's very interesting that
oh my God.
Computer ideas about computers developed early in the 20th century, and Clyde Shannon comes along in 1948, and DNA is discovered in 1953. And when we start unraveling DNA, we find out that this incredibly sophisticated communication system has been around for 3 billion years.
Mm-hmm. And we just discovered the communication theory that explains it.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these guys are creationists. But anyway, so it devolves. Where does it devolve to? We've got the Dennis Noble thing, and we've been over that before. Yes, they want to find a system where information creates itself chemically. And I'm sure there are other systems that we could create that do that. Lee Cronin is working on similar things. What do we have here?
Context of
DNA.
Okay, for a start, I think I believe it's really disingenuous. Anytime I'm coming up with something you don't like, just put me on mute, put me to one side. I didn't even get through all the stuff I wanted.
So
to
you're not going to address
entirely.
the
It's been
points that
really
were just made. You're going to whine.
Yeah.
Muted him.
Well,
all right.
Threw him out.
I'm done with this.
Anyway, okay, Mark. Yeah, disingenuous. So why did you do it? Thank you for putting up with an hour and a half of that bastard, but he, ends up muting you over and over again and blocking you out. Yes, Manny, I linked all the videos in the descriptions, I believe, particularly this one. I think it's, I can't remember what I linked it at. I linked it on the last night's show, and I put all the videos in this show. So hopefully I can listen to a little more of it and pick out some spots, and we'll go over some of this garbage later. I don't know how much we can go over it. There's not much that he. Oh, yes, you can. Hang on a second, guys. Let me just do it this way. Midnight wants a link because I'm kind of done with the weather report. So it was a horrible Saturday night at the Atheist. We just didn't have a hard in at Ian. Anyway, the link is in the chat for anybody that wants to join, except for Smokey Snake. I wouldn't let him in here. Maybe I would for about 5 minutes. Oh, I could mute him and then bounce him. And when he claims that it was disingenuous. So anyway, waiting for, there we go, Midnight. Hey, Midnight. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready for this morning, but I had to comment about this after show and the way they treated Mark Reed. Do you know Mark?
No, I do not.
Okay. He's been in a few times and he's been around, and he put up with an hour and a half of this sort of badgering over information and other things. It was interesting. And hi, Minnie, and hi, Ian.
All right, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. I finally figured out how to use the mic of my headset. Turns out I need to turn it on.
Yeah, you're actually coming in pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So,
Before.
so did you watch it? Did you watch any of this stuff last night?
No. Actually, well, I did tune in a little bit. I was listening to the modern day debate between RJ and Nephi. Okay, Nephi has said some stupid shit before, but what I heard last night made me cringe hard.
Oh, we have to have some links, or we have to have timestamps so we can record
I don't know
some
the
of that.
timestamps, but somebody said, there weren't any chemical reactions in the past, therefore abiogenesis isn't. I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
I want that timestamp, and I love this one.
It's not really an algorithm.
Well, it's not.
And then they do the same thing with
We need to put that. We need to put that one with John's laugh. I don't know if you heard the stream last night, but my friend was over and I played him John's, that snickering laugh that you recorded, that you clipped out midnight. Are you there?
Yes. Sorry, I'm turning off the mic and turning on the mic so you don't accidentally hear a crazy Italian woman.
Oh, okay. Crazy Italian women are they're scary, unless I won't say that. That would be no. I'm not going to say that. Anyway, so the snicker was so excellent that my friend got it stuck in his head as a meme, and I heard him doing it upstairs when he was working on their kitchen. He was doing John's laugh, and my friend Gary just nailed the laugh. I mean, he imitated it very well. No, hey, was that Manny?
It's Manny. Hi.
Hi. Oh, my God. Try again. Let's see. Let's try again.
Can you hear me?
I guess. Yeah, I can hear you. It's just I'm using these earbuds, whatever the fuck they're called, and if they come out of your ear, it switches back over to the computer sound. So they're pretty screwed up.
I was listening to you talking about the Mad Dog giggle, which is whole. Are you claiming? Is it your? Do you mean that one?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
No, we have a giggle clip, but for some reason I can't play through StreamYard. I can't play iMovie or whatever the fuck it's called. So I have to figure out how to get the clip on. But yeah, we've got his giggle clipped, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, his giggle. Okay, normally he has that condescending laugh that he practices, but he was tired and he kind of fucked it up, so it came out like this kind of girly giggle. So, yeah, exactly. We just love it. It's fucking excellent.
I'm sorry, but okay. Now I'm gonna be doing that.
Yeah, that is a wolf head stuck on a tire. I thought that was an appropriate icon for tonight, because Maddox doubles down on his stupid bullshit with information and DNA.
Don't you mean quadruples down?
Quadruples down, yeah.
Or
so,
what's the word for 5?
Penta?
Quintuple.
Yeah, quint, yeah. Yeah, penta or quint, depending on which Roman or Greek, right? Or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was, studying population genetics, and then I checked my mail, and then I looked at a little bit of this video, and I realized I had to do a weather report, at least sum up what happened yesterday. And I have not.
Why did you call it a weather report, or why do you call it a weather report?
So the storm systems that are going on in the creationist community, like right now, there's a hurricane called Smokey that's going through and picking on other Christians. And, so we got to keep an eye on that hurricane. And there's a tropical storm on modern day debate. And,
I wouldn't call it a hurricane so much as a grandiose gale at best.
Grandiose gale.
I'm sorry. Just Nephi. I'm like, dude, if you ever listen to this, stop drinking, okay? And you know what? I can't even attribute that to the alcoholism. Like like what the hell did he say? Cells cells divide? They don't. I'm like, dude, stop.
What is it about noon over there, Manny, in the desert?
Yeah, it's noon. Yeah, all afternoon, sort of 4 p.m. or something.
Do you have any trees over there?
In Israel, trees? Yeah, we do have some.
Oh, good. Did we send them to you, or were they like? How did you get them?
Trees.
Yeah.
How did we get trees? That's
sorry.
actually an interesting question. If you go back like 80 years before Israel came around, there weren't any forests here. We made them, sort of.
Yeah, that's
so
what I was
yeah.
wondering. It's
We
kind of
brought
like
eucalyptus and pine, and
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you
so
got
Israel's kind of weird that way. Israel is designed, not intelligently, but designed.
So you have eucalyptus groves there?
Yes, they
Oh,
thought
I
it
love
would
those.
take care of swampland.
Yeah.
Here's the news flash. It doesn't. We had malaria and swamps, and so we planted eucalyptus trees.
San Francisco.
Going back to Maddox, when you were talking about that giggle thing he does,
yeah.
Basically, any Maddox debate can be summed into quoting some article, repeating the sentence, "Is it your claim?" about 500 times, accompanied with appeal to emotion and giggles.
And using the word context, you have to say in any other context.
Oh, and information. You need to say prescribed information.
And then you have to say premise a couple times.
Honestly, I want to go back and listen to it, but at the same time, I don't, because I don't want brain damage like Nephi. Yeah. I know that sounds mean, but
no, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I think that we need to. Go ahead.
No, I have nothing.
Yeah, when you're talking about Nephi, there's nothing. That's it. That's it. It's Nephi.
Basically, all of them have like some parts of it. I think is true misunderstanding. Some is ego. Some is as the willingness to lie no matter what to defend the faith.
It's a wicked fucking brew.
Whole mess of reasons why they believe what they believe.
As little as I understand, I can simply say they don't understand anything.
Yeah.
I'll watch that DNA thing, and today I'm gonna sit down and read those articles he came up with about free will and free won't.
Oh yeah,
that you sent me.
Yeah.
So this afternoon, I'm gonna sit down and read the whole lot.
Yeah, basically you can sum it up that Libet in 1985 or 86, he did these tests and he found out that like when a person consciously thought they made a decision to push a button, there was already a whole lot of premotor activity going on.
Exactly. The motor cortex showed activity before the consciousness of making the choice, before the awareness.
Right, but then in later studies, there was a whole lot of criticism about what Libet did, and basically the motor activity was there, and they found out that it was basically noise that made you decide to actually push the button, and then you kind of recorded the point in the clock where you felt your finger pushing the button or whatever. It's quite complicated, but then they did the free won't thing. So they did the thing, they would have them say, okay, you're going to go along and you're going to decide to push the button, but I want you to randomly decide not to push the button. And John Maddox insists that there's no brain activity when that happens. Well, the papers say exactly the opposite. There's something like right between your eyes, the mediolateral or dorsal
lateral occipital.
Dorsal, no, not mediolateral. That would be the opposite. Dorsal medial prefrontal cortex, sort of right between your eyes, sort of a little bit up. That's the place where we That's the place where we use intellectual control over impulses to decide what to do and what not to do. And they recorded all kinds of fucking activity there. It was not no
so
brain
basically,
activity.
Okay, so simple logic would tell you that you will find activity in the prefrontal cortex because all of our inhibitions come from the prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
People who are impulsive or have like ADHD usually have some sort of lower activity in their prefrontal cortex.
Oh, they have
so
too
if
much
you're
noise
deciding,
in the brain. Yeah.
If you're deciding not to do something, to inhibit the impulse to press the button, then yes, probably the prefrontal cortex would fire.
Yeah, and I have
simple common sense if you know brain science.
2 clips of Maddox where he's pretending that, this new research shows that there's no brain activity, therefore materialism has to be false, and it's just stupid.
Okay.
And I reached out to him, but he refuses to. He is not going to mention it anymore. He's going to let it go, kind of like the microRNA, because he knows he has, because he actually maybe read the paper. What's that?
But let's take this moment as like an educational thing.
Yeah.
So indeed, in the original research, the original study, they asked the people to make the decision when to press the button and they showed as if muscles, the motor cortex, the part in charge of our movements and our muscles, was firing before they were aware, which seems to indicate no free will. However, that is a very, very large leap from one study.
Yeah,
and then what you're describing basically is that following studies found that this might have been just normal brain activity, which they misinterpreted as relating to that decision.
Yeah.
And if I understand correctly, finally, you're saying that the part of our brain known as the prefrontal cortex, which is like our forehead, somewhere mediodorsal. So dorsal would be like our back and the top of our head, and mediodorsal would be sort of like the third eye, more or less, between our eyebrows. That would be mediodorsal.
Yep, pretty much in the middle.
We see, and we see activity there when we decide not to take an action, which stands to reason, because we know that, like, when you have like animal impulses firing from your limbic system, then it's this cortex, the prefrontal, which would stop you from acting on the limbic system.
Yeah,
on those impulses. So
there's a couple different systems in your frontal cortex that are involved, that they found to be involved in that sort of thing. And there's a paper by Brass 2019 that goes over a 53-page tome, basically, that goes over the whole, the whole thing. And his conclusion is that no, we can't disprove free will, or at least a kind of soul free will, with empiricism. And he explains why, but he goes, it's real good coverage of the whole set of experiments that everybody's done. And he links, I think it's like 48 pages and 5 pages of papers in the back. So pretty good study. But,
so here's one of the things that, that John and the gang like to ignore. And that is the fact that when you're doing science, you are always asking these tiny little questions,
right?
Really, really bizarre experiments to test them out, and these are completely unrealistic conditions created only in the lab. And the funny thing is, you have to take all those tiny answers, like you said with this tome, and build up some sort of conclusion, some overarching theory or narrative for all of these studies. And the thing is, it's the same with genetics. It's the same with everything. And John likes to take and go and say, no, we shouldn't be doing experiments in the lab. We shouldn't be asking these contrived questions. Yeah, that's science, you dumbass. That's what you like in neuroscience. That is what allowed you to come up with the new study. But in neuroscience, you're happy because it makes you right. But when it goes back to genetics, it says, oh, no, that's contrived. No, that's
contrived
bad science.
Yeah. Yeah, they pick and choose.
Yeah, John, whatever.
Yeah. So Standing for Truth has a
Hypocrite.
fucking another book I gotta buy. Oh my god. And that little bastard hasn't sent me the PDF yet of the updated book. Because I bought a lot of their books and he just keeps lagging on sending me this PDF.
Yeah, I cut out there, didn't I?
Oh, you did? Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I didn't. I hope you heard me because I couldn't hear you.
Oh, really? Let's see. Yeah, I heard most of what you said.
Did you hear me saying that John's a hypocrite? Okay, so John's a hypocrite, basically.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He likes the same scientific method when applied to brain science. He liked it. He said, "Oh, look, another contrived little question, but this one helps me." When the same thing happens in chemistry and abiogenetic studies, he's not happy. Yeah, so that's hypocrisy there.
Yeah, and the reason he's a hypocrite, one of the reasons he's a hypocrite, number one, he won't. He likes to play things without linking his sources, even though he has, his big source of papers or whatever. But he will only go in venues where he has a mute button or a modern day debate where basically he can do his diatribes. He will not come on a one-to-one conversation where you dig into any one particular subject deeply unless he has mute control. He's a coward. He won't come here and talk to me because he is a coward, John. Coward.
Yeah, in that sense, at least Smokey or Neff, they go on Dan's channel, on Creation Myths channel, right?
Yeah. Yep.
They engage in arenas that are not like their home turf.
Yeah.
And John just won't.
Yeah. CRISPR Cas9 really did run John around the other night. That was good though. And John didn't mute him too many times. Yeah. But that was pretty good. But anyway, yeah.
I'm gonna read on those brain science article studies, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll have a talk about those.
Okay, that'd be good. Free will is interesting. It's really a non-problem as far as I'm concerned. If you stick to, and we're going to have a conversation about information today that's going to be along those lines. But if you're going to talk about the physical world, then you are necessarily going to have to step out of your own subjectivity and stop talking about our mind and our abstract bullshit and all that stuff. And when you look at free will from that context, it's not a problem. We are agents that do free will, but we do it within our own subjective frame of reference. And when you step out, of course, you're going to see all determinism. That still doesn't. And then they go to this thing where, oh, well, if it's all determinism, then we can't put you in prison for axe murdering 20 people or your family. No, we can put you in prison because, like, if you had a robot and that robot axe murdered families occasionally, you would put that fucking you would shut that robot off. You would put that robot in a cage. Okay, it's just even though it's all determinism, you still have to put the robot in prison. Yeah. So I don't understand what all the problems are with it. So anyway, are you still with me, Manny, or did you blank out again? I think I lost you.
Speed, can you hear me?
Oh,
Speed.
You're kind of back. Yep.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I heard you. I heard you perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
So if a dog attacks a person, we put the dog in the pound. We don't start asking, is the dog more reliable? No, we just say, okay, the dog's dangerous. And that's it. We don't need... Like,
It's same with a robot or a bad can opener. If every time you use a can opener, it ends up slipping and cutting your hand, it's a bad can opener. You put it in prison. Doesn't matter that it was deterministic.
So, if we take a very nice common example, as someone who studied a bit of psychology, can say that if someone has attraction towards children, pedophiliac attraction, that is maybe an illness, maybe genetic, but it doesn't change the fact that if he cannot control these tendencies, we have to put him away. And it doesn't mean I can't be compassionate about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I have to blame him as an evil person.
Yeah, I think that's what they want. They want free will so that you have, well, that's really tied into Christianity very heavily. This,
of course,
idea of free will and judgment and punishment. You know, it's just all, that's that clip we played last night about, what's his name? Nicholas saying we need more beatings. I don't know if you caught that or not, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, the whole idea that if you have free will, it should be beaten out of you sounds lovely.
Yep. Anyway, I think I'm gonna end the live broadcast. Stick around for a minute, okay? So I'm gonna end the weather report. We'll see you guys. We'll see you, Ian. We'll talk soon. Tuesday for me, right? I got to get this right. I keep trying to talk to Ian, and I keep inverting our time zones, so I show up like 2 days late or something because he's on the wrong side of the earth. Anyway, so ending.